Good morning and welcome back to Lillehammer, Norway, as we continue our feast of Nordic coverage here on Eurosport from this iconic Olympic venue. I'm Simon Golding and it's time to turn our attention back to cross-country now with the welcome return to the World Cup schedule of the relay. Back on the calendar after a 2-year absence and back to the venue where the last World Cup relay was staged when the home team of Norway won it. It really has been a phenomenal run for them, and if we take Olympics out of the equation, it's been a 6-year undefeated run. And today would mean a 6th consecutive victory for the Norwegian team. And after yesterday's skiathlon results, it's tough to see past more success for Norway on home snow, not only to defend this title, but to make it those 6 consecutive World Cup relay titles to extend their 6-year undefeated World Cup run into a 7th year. That really is phenomenal. And with 4 teams going in this lineup of 12, then Norway have every chance. So 4 team members to go, each skiing 2 laps of this track to make up a 5K circuit. Little delay at the start here as the opening athletes prepare to go. And just to remind you, the first 2 legs will be skied as classic technique. The second 2 will be in the freestyle. So away from this Birkebeiner Stadium and heading out onto the classic tracks, Norway's #1 team. Interestingly, heading off with Maiken Faller, but that fantastic result yesterday in the skiathlon, showing maybe that she's got her distance issues sorted out for this season, leading in the early stages of the sprint standings and doing very well as a result of yesterday's skiathlon result in the overall. So Faller leads off for Norway. For Sweden, the Olympic champions, just minus Haag in terms of that lineup from the Olympic, leads off with Ingmarsdotter. And Finland leading off with Palmer Koski. Germany leading off with Ringwald, the Olympic bronze medalists. And United States will lead off with Rosie Brennan. Then it's Shapalova for Russia 1. Russia incidentally have 2 teams in this. Then Sevasek of Slovenia. And moving down through the list, Scardoni for Italy, Jakobsen for Norway 2, and let's not count out a all-Norwegian podium here today. They've got Jakobsen, Slint, Nagstad and Haga. That's not a bad second team. Norway 3, Jetnes, and Norway 4, Theodsen, and Russia 2 in the midst of that as well, going from that second lineup on the grid with Belorukova. So looking to create a little bit of distance and a little bit of space on the first part of today's relay. Seeing if they can burn everybody else off on the classic tracks. And with Faller handing to Ostberg, you wouldn't bet against it. And then how about this for an anchor leg from Johaug followed by Weng on the freestyle. This Norwegian team really is something to behold. No Marit Bjorgen. No Kristen Sturre. Those 2 members part of the 2013 winning team, the last time that the relay was hosted on the World Cup Tour, and that happened here in Lillehammer. And it is the red bib of the Norwegian team, with Faller just pushing it out from the start and already trying to stretch this field. It's interesting to see who can go with her. Certainly looked like a move there from bib 11, Kari Jetnes of Norway. Looking very comfortable on that climb. And then just back in bib 9, Norway 2, with Astrid Jakobsen in 3rd position at the moment. And Sweden's Ingmarsdotter in 2nd. Ingmarsdotter a little off the pace in last season's classic races, the 30-year-old. And was certainly off the pace in yesterday's skiathlon in 38th position. Compare that to the 4 Norwegians who finished 1st, 2nd, 5th and 10th in their lineup. The least placed of the Norwegians in the #1 team was Ingrid Østberg. She'll go 2nd leg in the classic. Beautiful conditions here in Lillehammer. It really is a dream, isn't it, in sunny weather conditions like this. Lovely crisp early morning air. It really is a sight to behold. The sun just glinting through the arms of the athletes as they propel themselves up this next climb. Just that little bit of work to do, but amazing, isn't it? Even in the midst of a climb, still get into a very nice rhythm. Allowing those skis still to glide. Head down, seemingly oblivious to the rest of the world. Like Fala. Making her way to the highest part of this course. 2.5K loops for each of the 4 team members, and as we go through the split, Ingmarsdottir followed by Brennan of the USA. That's a good ski from the American. Palmakoski trying to keep Finland in the lineup if they can. It's bib 7, first lead out for Slovenia. Sevasek, and then it's Razinger, Fabjan and Einfalt for the Slovenian team, but already with fair distance to make up. It's that kind of course where you do get a few of these loops and you get a good view of exactly where you are in the field, who's with you, how far ahead you are, or alternatively, dispiritingly sometimes, if you're chasing the Norwegian team, how much work you've still got to do. This beautiful rhythm from Fala. Conditions should be relatively straightforward for the technicians today. Good speed here from Fala, but excellent effort in second and third place. Sweden and looks like Norway too. And that's a very good ski on the downhill section from Ingmarsdottir. Round that tight left-hander. Saw a little bit of action there yesterday in the Nordic combined. Ingmarsdottir takes over, but is very quickly overhauled by Fala, double poling it through to this next section. Taking a little bit longer to get into the kick. Ingmarsdottir straight into that, showing some real intent here, the tall Swede. There's Stina Nilsson, incidentally, in the Swedish team today, and she didn't race in the skiathlon yesterday. So we would assume resting up for the next leg in Davos. Once again, despite Fala being just that little bit circumspect on the speedier part of the course, proving just what an athlete she is when it comes to the climb, will have been buoyed by yesterday's result in the skiathlon. We've taken a lot of confidence from that. And Ingmarsdottir at the moment getting sandwiched in between the 2 Norwegian teams. That is bib 9, Astrid Jakobsen, the 28-year-old who finished 14th yesterday in the skiathlon. Back into the tracks, and Ingmarsdottir just happy to sit in the slipstream as they move back into the stadium. Now of the remaining athletes, Palmakoski's made a move, a couple of places through. Bela Rakova of Russia won in 5th position. No show from Ringwald in Germany at the moment. A quiet day yesterday as well. The Germans, the best of their finishers was Nicole Fessel, excellent 4th position for the Oberstdorf skier, but nobody else really backed that up apart from Bela in 12th position. She goes 2nd for Germany, but it's still Norway dominating the opening of this race. Well, Fala's got company here. What a marvellous position for the Norwegian coaches at the moment. An embarrassment of riches. There's a real strength in depth to this Norwegian cross-country group at the moment. And I wonder what those debates are like. It would be marvellous, wouldn't it, to be a fly on the wall, sat alongside the Norwegian coaches and listening to the chat about who is going to ski, where, when, and in what position. And that, of course, is exposed even more so when it comes to the relay. And their call is to lead with Fala and Østberg. That raised a couple of eyebrows, in the classic section of this race. But I think you could put the remaining 2, Johaug and Weng, anywhere you wanted, and they'd do the job for you. But it is Fala at the moment, trailing. This is a good ski from Astrid Jakobsen. Bib 10, Russia 2, Bela Rakova just coming through. Bib 4 already off the pace, Ringwald. And chasing, Bib 5, USA. It was a tidy start from Rosie Brennan. has just drifted a little bit, and not a great start, I'm afraid, for Shapovalova. Shapovalova is the lead-off athlete for Russia 1, and making very hard work of it. Really relaxed glide through from Norway 2 and Jakobsen. Keep an eye on bib 11 as well, Tjetnes, and don't count Norway 4 out of being around about a few camera pictures on the way. We lead off with Theodorsen, who finished 33rd in yesterday's skiathlon. Double poling through to the next section. Faller just sitting in behind Jakobsen, and Ingmarsdottir after that early initiative just coming off the pace a little bit. Palmakovsky though still looking solid in 4th, and a bit of drive there from Belarukova, Russia 2. Looks very strong. Coming up the slope, got Palmakovsky in her sights. Ingmarsdottir now drifting into 3rd. And a very strong second leg here from Jakobsen. Faller just sucking in some air on the way up there, Maiken Faller. But no separation at the moment. There was the opportunity, and I guess through the remaining 3 phases there still is the opportunity for this to develop into a bit of a procession. But at the moment, Norway 1 not having it all their own way, and this is what breeds success within any sporting programme. You send out your top team, and they've got real pressure and real company from the second group of athletes. But let's face it, Jakobsen, Slind, Nagstad and Hage would rate as the #1 team for pretty much all the other nations that are here. That's with the greatest of respect to the likes of Sweden, who have Charlotte Kalla going on their anchor leg. But the Olympic champions, really not the unit that we saw back in 2014. Jakobsen goes past the 3 Norwegian flags waving halfway up that climb. I wonder what sort of boost that gives you. Coming back into the stadium, no doubt. And the noise really increases. So 11-14 going through that split. Faller in 2nd, Ingmarsdottir in 3rd. Palmakovsky at the moment holding off the Russian 2 athlete, Belarukova. And gritting her teeth, bib 5, Rosie Brennan, I think just paying a little bit for that early pace. She did very well to be up and with it through the first 2.5. Brennan just trailing Ringwald. And a little bit of a surprise here, right off the pace, and looking quite leaden leg there is Shapovalova of Russia 1. Sevasek of Slovenia 2. Just having to pace herself at the moment, and a bit of a push from Tjetnes to get back into it. Well, this is where Faller had a few problems on the first trip round on this 2.5k, and Ingmarsdottir's going for her again on the inside. Oh, this is good racing. Ingmarsdottir, brilliant. Once again, pushes Faller wide, makes her use that extra bit of space on the course and the outside track that becomes the inside track as they move to this section where the crowd is. But look how far Jakobsen has managed to get away on that descent. Now can Astrid Jakobsen just keep this form coming up the hill, because this is where Faller has been really strong, and she's going for it again. Closing down all of that distance that Jakobsen managed to build. Both she and Ingmarsdottir really skied the descent beautifully. Took a few risks, and that is a fantastic climb. Well, despite Faller's efforts, that little glide again has allowed Jakobsen to open it up, and she's going to kick right off the slope coming over the bridge and try and hit this last section really hard coming into the stadium. Into that handover area. Got to have a physical touch from one athlete to the next, and we've got a race on our hands here. This is good stuff. First exchange then will be Jakobsen to Kari Slind, 11th in yesterday's skiathlon, to ski the second classic leg. And Jakobsen 9th in the overall standings, top 10 sprinter, hands over to her partner who pushes away very hard, double poling out of that handover area. And Norway won. Falla hands to Ingrid Østberg. The footballing cross-country skier going for the second leg in the Classic for Norway 1. Second leg of the Classic for Sweden is Emma Wicken, 22 in yesterday's skiathlon. So she's going to feel a bit of pressure in this second leg. Rather tired Belarukova comes into the stadium for Russia too, but she's skied a good leg there. Belarukova hands over to Neprieva. Bib 4, Ringwald, handing over to Stephanie Boller. Second best of the Germans in yesterday's skiathlon. Olympic bronze medalists. And heading out for the USA, Rosie Brennan hands to Sadie Bjornsson. Bjornsson, the best of the Americans in yesterday's race at 20. So looking for a good, strong classic leg from the Americans. But it's Norway 2 that lead out of the stadium on leg 2. Welcome back. Second leg of 4 in the relay and the second classic leg before we head into the freestyle. And we've got a race on our hands here. We've got a fourth change of lead, and it's Finland. Palmakoski handing over to Kerttu Niskanen, who finished 8th in yesterday's skiathlon. And remember, they've got Killunen to finish off, who finished top 10 as well, in 7th position yesterday. So Finland looking really strong here. I said Emma Wicken might struggle on this second leg. She's doing exactly that, and he's dropping a lot of time on the rest. But Niskanen being chased by Østberg. Østberg has managed to overhaul that 6.1 second deficit that was established by Norway 2's Astrid Jakobsen. Handed over to Kari Slind. Kari Slind now just trying to hang in there. But that's your top 3. Finland, Norway 1, Norway 2. Bib 11, that is Norway 3, trying to make her way through the field. Catherine Hassen. GMS handing over to her, having done a little bit of work to get through the field. But we have got a real race with our top 3. And at the moment, Niskanen overpowered on that downhill section. And we've got the leaders, the red bibs, back in the front. So Falla handing over to Østberg. But the next 2 legs that Norway 1 can hand to, well, puts a smile, I'm sure, on the Norwegian fans' faces, because it'll be Therese Johaug and Heidi Wenck to bring it home, and I think they will be bringing it home, but not without a bit of a test. This has been a really good race through the early phases, and Niskanen, well, looking really good on the climb. She's absolutely fantastic coming up the slopes. Looks full of energy, looks very confident. Watch the transition as she goes into the next climb after this downhill off the bridge. And just see how hard she's pushing, and got taken a little bit wide there. That was tasty from Kari Slind. Taking no prisoners out there, Norway 2. But Østberg, a multi-talented athlete, settled into her cross-country skiing career. Very interesting to see how positive other nations are about crossover between sports. Yes, okay, sometimes can be a little bit nervy, letting your athletes play other sports. And I know Østberg is on strict instructions when it comes to the football in terms of when she's allowed to compete. And there is the second leg for Sweden being skied by Emma Wicken. Wicken 22nd in yesterday's skiathlon, and she's finding it really hard out there. She's conceded around about 20 seconds already. So the handover from Wicken to Rudqvist. Rudqvist is going to have to put some work in if she's going to give anything for Charlotte Kalla to work with. Bib 10 is Russia 2 and Natalia Neprieva. Bib 4, a little sketchy around the corner from Stephanie Boller of Germany. Well, we've seen some of the athletes really going for it. faster descents, but some of the athletes looking a little bit sketchy at the moment at this part of the season. Not everybody's cup of tea, the speed sections of any course. And risky as well. I think that's something that we often forget. Not easy to lose your footing, to tip over, and at that speed it can result in injury quite easily. Not what you want at this point in the season. This is a very strong leg from Østberg, the 25-year-old, international since 2010, finished in 10th position yesterday in the skiathlon, so actually the weakest, if you can say that in inverted commas, the weakest performance of the Norwegian 1 team. With 2 podiums, Johaug and Weng, still to come. But this is solid. Well, Østberg, we've seen it in the past in the sprint event. She doesn't mind a dust-up. She doesn't mind the physicality of the closer races. She was more than happy to overhaul that deficit and has done it very tidily indeed. So Norway won now, away with conviction, something we thought might happen from leg 1 but wasn't allowed to happen. And that initial promise from Kjertil Niskanen has faded. Niskanen now locked in a battle with Kari Slind. Well, I think you all know the script from here, barring injury, barring a fall. I've got this season's flyer to come in leg 3, Therese Johaug, who I'm sure in the freestyle, first of the freestyle sections, will try and put this race to bed. Not always the smoothest, Østberg, but no doubt about the strength, the power, the conditioning of this athlete. And that's good work, good, solid work from Ingrid Østberg, and has done exactly the job that she's been sent out there to do on leg 2 of this classic. Oh, little slip. Looks to me like Slind has lost that battle. Yeah, that is the blue ski suit of the Finns coming through. And Kjertil Niskanen, having decided that she couldn't quite live with the pace of Østberg, so made a really good decision to settle into that battle for second with Kari Slind, and has come out well on top. Beat Slind by 3 places in yesterday's skiathlon, so I'd have expected that one to be a little closer. Up to the 3.7 split then on this second leg of Classic. I'll tell you what, this is some effort from Niskanen. Really pushing to try and close down. We'll see if she has managed to take a few seconds out of Østberg over this last half a kilometre. Going through the split at 24:59, looking around the hour mark for today's race time. And that's good, 13 seconds. And how far away has she got from Slind? Anything 10 seconds plus, and you know that the next athlete has got some work to do. And Slind, for me, oh dear, is looking in a little bit of pain there, and she's dropped a huge amount of time. 30.8 seconds off the pace of Østberg, which translates to some 17 seconds behind Niskanen, so she won't be closing that gap, and Finland will be handing over in second place. For Emma Viken, well, she's dropped right back through the field and has been caught now by Germany's second classic leg skier, Boller. So Stephanie Boller on her tail, along with Russia too. And that's Natalia Neprieva in the number 10 bib. And Viken has been passed. Look at this drive from Boller. She's in the zone. She's found a happy place in all the pain. Really tentative as well from the American Seri Bjornsson. Almost seemed to grind to a halt there at the Norwegian flags. Here's the lift you need, with the last bit of work to do, coming back to the stadium. The home fans on side. Shocked still, I'm sure, about the Olympic relay result, which, based on Norway's domination of this part of cross-country skiing looked like a shoo-in for gold, but the waxing issues costing them the medal. Raising everybody's eyebrows. Good work. Really good leg from Niskanen. But hats off to Ingrid Østberg, who's in a bit of a fight for that top spot. And she will hand over to the woman of the moment, Therese Johaug. Second exchange, third leg to come, as we will move from classic to freestyle. No equipment change, as yesterday's skiathlon dictated. This is just a straight handover. And again, just to remind you, physical touch in this 50-metre zone must be seen. There it is. And now Johaug can go, and you know exactly what's going to happen from here. This is going to be Norway 1 with, well, 10 kilometres of victory laps to ski. Never say never. Always the possibility in this sport of an error, but with nobody for company, then it would have to be a strange one. So the handover from Finland is good. Niskanen goes to Mononen. Now, Mononen finished 18th yesterday, so she's going to have a bit of work to do to hold off the challenge from Maria Nakstad. Nakstad and Norway 2. Finished in 21st position, the Bjersen Ski Club racer yesterday in the skiathlon. Look at that, very, very cagey around the corner from a tired Björle of Germany, and she's going to have a bit of a race to the line here with Dnieprieva. One more corner to come, another left-hander as they go back into the handover area, and Buller's done. She doesn't want to fight for that, so just has to skip away round the corner, and Dnieprieva then will hand over. Russia 2 in 4th position, just behind Norway 2. Dnieprieva hands to Kalsine. And from Germany's point of view, Stephanie Boller hands to Monique Siegel. And we're away again with the first leg of the freestyle. But it's Norway 1 now, comfortably in the lead. And we will take a short break there. Welcome back to Lillehammer. This woman having pounded the rest of the tour into submission already this season on an individual basis. Now looking to do it within the team event. Into the freestyle section of this relay. The relay returning to the World Cup calendar after a 2-year absence. The last race was actually run here in Lillehammer back in 2013. Norway winning that one. And if you take out a race in 2011 when Italy won in Rybinsk and Norway didn't race, then Norway heading for what will be a 7-year unbeaten run in World Cup terms, which makes that lack of an Olympic medal in Sochi even more fascinating. But it happens on the technical side of things in this sport from time to time. Finland in 2nd position. Great leg from Kerttu Niskanen to back up Palmakovski's start. And Niskanen handing over to the tall, rangy Laura Mononen. Mononen finishing in 18th position yesterday, so should have the form in the legs, should have no problem holding on. Not to second, certainly to a podium place, and that's the woman that has the job of chasing her down, Maria Nakstad. So Nakstad not given much to work with, I'm afraid, by Kari-Ora Slind. Not a good leg from Slind. And talking of not particularly good legs, I'm afraid Emma Viken has dropped Sweden right in it. That was well below par from Viken. She's handed to Maria Rydqvist. And we're getting some real separation now as they move through the split. So Mononen just under 30 seconds down on Johaug. That will, I'm sure, increase by the end. Nakstad on the first freestyle leg for Norway 2. A minute behind her illustrious teammate. And don't count Norway out still. I'm getting a couple of podium places here. That's good work coming up the climb from the third of the USA athletes, Elizabeth Stephen. 25th position, so behind Bjornsson, the second best of the Americans yesterday. And at bib 2, it's Rydqvist for Sweden, just trying to recover the situation, to try and put Charlotte Kalla into a position to at least give it a go. Siegel then for Germany, just behind Russia's Kalsina. It's Russia 2, incidentally. Russia 1 at the moment. Not anywhere near. So Zukova skiing their first freestyle leg. Bib 11, Norway 3, and Martine Hagen. Good effort from her in yesterday's skiathlon as well. So still quality all the way through. And listen to this reception from the absolute darling at the moment of the Norwegian fans. And dare I say it, no shadows to ski in for Johaug this season. She can be the shining light. Absence of Bjørgen. That's when you find out whether those athletes that are waiting in the wings really have what it takes. And I think we all know the answer to that where Johaug is concerned. Good effort, still putting the work in, is Laura Mononen, coming back into this famous stadium. Refurbished back in 2013, but over the years the site of so many wonderful races. Johaug is going to have to get used to her own company, I think, during the course of this season, because she's going to find herself in that position a lot. Very clear 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Mononen comfortably holding off a spirited push from Maria Nakstad. Nakstad will come through the speed gun, still a long way down on Finland. So now Norway 2 have to focus on the next job in hand. You've got to move through the gears, you've got to move through the game plans as the race goes on, and for her now, Nakstad, it's all about holding off the chasing pack. And the chasing pack being led, I think that was Elizabeth Steven. No, it's Elizabeth Steven just behind, so it's the third of the Swedes, Maria Rydqvist. My apologies to Maria. There is Elizabeth. Good effort from her, from the American, and a good effort here from Rydqvist, now getting away from the pack that she's been working with. And she has at least got Nakstad in her sights. So Rydqvist with a really clear sight of Nakstad as she takes the climb away from the stadium. Johaug and Norway 1. An absolute country kilometre away from the rest now. And look at that, no let up whatsoever, but that's what the training base is for. It'll be fascinating to watch just how good Johaug can be this season. Whether this is her window of opportunity to establish herself, if she hasn't already done that, as one of the greats. And at 27 years of age, there's still a few seasons of opportunity there for the World Cup leader. 443 points amassed already. Loves her fashion and photography away from the snow. Has been very much part of the fashion business to the extent that she's now brought out her own clothing line. Therese Johaug. And a fabulous season won't do that any harm either. It all kind of interlinks together. Look at the drive, look at the incredible passion and intensity. We talk about that a lot on Eurosport. We use those words a lot to try and quantify what we're seeing from the athletes, but sometimes the picture tells the story. No let up whatsoever from Johaug. This is a demolition job from the world number 1. And she will hand over to Heidi Weng to bring it home. And that's exactly what it will be, another win to make it 6 consecutive World Cup relay victories for this Norwegian team. Now, this is some effort from Finland as well. Thought they had a chance of a podium at the start of today. And remember, Mononen, 18th in yesterday's skiathlon, hands over to Ann Killonen, who finished in 7th, so they've got real strength on the final leg as well. Always looking out on those wider shots just to see if we can pick up any athletes in the distance making their way through. But I think Nakstad is so far behind this woman that she will find it impossible. She's got to focus on the fact she's going to get some company pretty soon. Good work, Mononen. So nearly a minute down now on Johaug as she goes through that 3.7 split. Here comes Nakstad. And Nakstad being chased down by Maria Rudqvist. This will be an interesting split here from 3rd to 4th. We'll see if Rudqvist's endeavours. She moved away as she came through the Birkebeiner Stadium. Moved away from the American. And we'll see if she's actually managed to close the gap, and that is ominous for Norway too. Nakstad moves through then, 1 minute and 40 seconds off Johaug's pace. Look at this from Elizabeth Steven. Well, I can call it right this time. That is Steven. That is some effort, because she was a good 50 metres down on the Swede as she came through the stadium section, through those tight turns. And Steven has attacked very, very hard off those next 2 climbs, and she has hauled Rudqvist back to her. So Sweden and USA in a battle now for that 4th and 5th spot. And that battle will allow them to push through and attack that 3rd place. Johaug then back into the stadium, all on her own, has destroyed this field, and she will hand over to another Norwegian destroyer in Heidi Weng. 2nd in yesterday's skiathlon, Heidi Weng is handed to by the woman that leads the overall standings and won yesterday's race comfortably. Johaug then to Weng. That's a combination of names to strike fear in the heart of any cross-country racer. And away goes Weng, 4 international relay wins to her name. 24 years of age, and what an anchor to be able to send out. You could have mixed up this 4-person relay team, I think, any way you wanted with Norway 1, and you'd have probably still come out with the same result. That's the quality. Now, Mononen into the 3rd exchange for Finland. Absolutely belting race from them so far. Palmakoski and Niskanen have done their job. Mononen has backed it up quite superbly. And on paper, they're handing over to a very strong anchor in Ann Killonen. Just gasping a little bit as she comes round that last turn, has given it a great shot, Mononen, and Killonen now with the responsibility of trying to ski Finland into 2nd place in serious company. And the Olympic silver medalists perched in the same position. And perched rather delicately on her skis as she comes round that corner, making hard work of it there, Nakstad. I wonder if she did manage to get just a little look across the tracks and a little look over her shoulder to see whether Rudqvist, and as it happens now, Elizabeth Steven, managed to gain. Oh, that was nearly a problem. That's how tired Nakstad is. Trying to double pole and just planted it straight onto the ski and nearly went for a tumble. That will have woken her up in the last 50 metres. And Norway 2, Nakstad to Ragnhild Hage, 13th yesterday. That was a good effort from her in the skiathlon. And almost hobbling around that turn. She has given so much on the last section of this race. That's a good handover from Rudqvist to Kalla. So she's at least given Charlotte Kalla something to work with here. And can the flying Swede find it on this last leg to put pressure on the podium? But at the moment, it all looks like Norway's race once again. We'll take a break. Welcome back. Heidi Weng doing her thing on the final leg. The anchor roll for Norway 1. They lead this relay, the revived relay, back on the World Cup calendar, I'm delighted to say. After a 2-year absence, they lead comfortably, over a minute's difference between Weng and the next athlete through the split, which will be Finland's anchor leg, being skied by Anne Kyllönen, second of the freestyle legs. And Kyllönen's focus here has nothing to do with Weng and everything to do with the final leg being skied by Hage of Norway. That's Norway 2, incidentally. And the final leg being skied by Sweden. Can Charlotte Kalla put Sweden in the podium picture and chase down Hage? Well, that for me is a pretty tame climb from Kyllönen. You would have to speculate this is all about just keeping a little bit in the tank for the second 2.5. But doesn't want to give too much encouragement to Ragnhild Hage, skiing that final leg. There she is. She will have Kyllönen in her sights. And we'll see how much work she's willing to do at this point. With that third place on the line, she too doesn't want to expend too much energy, with real company from Jessica Diggins. USA are having a fantastic day today. Well, typical USA, just refusing to give up. And look at that, Jessica Diggins at the moment taking it away from Charlotte Kalla, who looks to be just labouring a little up that climb. I know she's putting the effort in. But that's not the usual smoothness that we expect from Kalla. So Diggins through in 4th position, Kalla coming through in 5th. I think we're going to get the podium from that group of athletes. It's Norway 1's win, barring a real problem for Heidi Weng. But there is still a question mark over 2nd and 3rd. That one still has to be skied out. Matvieva then through for Russia. Been a good ski from Russia too. I don't think the number has got too much to do with the team they've turned out. Every bit as good as Russia won, and they've proved it. Still, just a ponderous rhythm to the climb from Kyllönen. Interesting effort from her on this final leg. But from Johaug and Weng, it has been all out. Look at the difference in the rhythm between 2nd and 1st. Weng is already away and clear. She could afford to stop for a breather and still take this race, but just like Johaug, she has drilled it from start to finish. And this is going to be a mighty impressive victory. It was a really good start to this race. There was still a little bit of debate over 1st place as we came through that first exchange, but that was soon seen off with a really good 2nd classic leg from Østberg. And Norway are going to get their wish. The home fans are going to get their wish here in this Birkebeiner Stadium yet again. Making her way cautiously round that turn and back into the handover area. Kyllönen still doing a very good job. And this is the woman that she'll be trying to hold off, but there's a real race on for 3rd place. This is starting to get very interesting indeed, with one more lap of this relay to go. Ragnhild Hage will come through in 3rd place, but that's one heck of a ski from Diggins, and Charlotte Kalla at the moment is being outgunned here. I really didn't think we'd be saying that. She's trying everything she can to get the speed back into the legs, get some feeling out there for this final 2.5K, but Sweden, I think, are out of it. And their great hope in Charlotte Kalla has failed to deliver. Germany then, just behind them. 4th and final leg being skied by 4th place finisher Nicole Fessel, so the 32-year-old should certainly be able to consolidate this position. Will she have colour in her sights? Russia 2, Matvieva nearly slipping. Following through after that, and back to the head of the race. Back to this incessant pace from Weng. These Norwegian athletes, I mean, sometimes you can say, forget the rest, these Norwegian athletes are going to drive each other on to greater and greater performances this season unless somebody can get in amongst it. Unless another nation can respond. Maybe that's the reason for Stina Nilsson just resting up this week ahead of the racing in Davos. Somebody has to try and offer a challenge. Weng, another firm favourite with the crowds. Almost a Christmassy flavour to the woolly hat today from Heidi Weng. Plenty of early Christmas presents for Norway here in Lillehammer, no doubt about that, and they've earned them. This is going to be another very rapid ski. This is going to be a fast race. Just looking back at the time they won this race in 2013 with two different racers. Bjørgen and Sture were in that lineup, and Norway won it in 58.3890. I think that gives you an idea of the quality of the foursome they've turned out today. Weng then powering back towards the stadium to pick up another victory and move into year 7 undefeated in team relays on the World Cup for Norway. Well, heading back down the slope to try and find our next athletes. And they've got a fair distance to go as well. Johaug and Weng have opened up such a massive gap. And there we go, finally arriving over the crests. That rather doleful rhythm being set by Killunen. She clearly isn't feeling at her best this morning. And trying to work through this. Well, she's been sent out to do a job, and she's doing that job at the moment. No sign of any danger in terms of a challenge for second place, but I think we're going to have an interesting race for third. Weng then skis it round the turn, that burst of energy to make sure she's got some momentum coming into this next climb. That's sensational. That is an athlete just like Johaug, at the peak of her powers, completely undaunted. And when you've seen just how tired some of the other athletes look, trailing in their wake, it really is testament to the preparation that these guys have gone through for this season. Weng is flying. Norway 1 are flying. Brushes aside that next climb to head back towards the stadium. Killunen refusing to break from that rhythm. And look at this for third place. This is an absolute duster. Got to hand it to Jessica Diggins. She's put in a serious shift on this fourth leg. And she's caught and closed down Ragnhild Hage. And we're heading for a tight finish there for the podium. But nothing tight about this. Still with the professionalism to check everything before she waves. Weng lines it up for the finish and now turns the afterburners on. Absolutely no need to do that because they've got this race won. This is all about putting down a time, laying down a marker, and they have destroyed their winning time from 2013. Absolutely destroyed it. This is a very, very special group of athletes, and Norway 1 have the relay win here in Lillehammer. Well, sensational race from the #1 Norwegian team. After that bit of company early doors for Maiken Faller, that was all seen off with Østberg's classic leg 2, and then Johaug and Weng brought it home in the freestyle. But haven't Finland performed well? The Olympic silver medalists proving that they are on this world stage and in the position they're in for a reason. And now there's a bit more urgency about Killunen's work, because she knows she's got some company here. Look at this from Diggins. Look at this from the Americans. Sensational stuff. She's absolutely ripped Haga apart on that last descent, and now is hitting the climb with some real endeavour. And Diggins fancies this. She really fancies this, and so does Haga. Haga responds. It's not over and done with yet. Diggins' focus will be on trying to get back, if she can, to attack as hard as she can for that second place in Finland. But what she doesn't want to do is give too much here and find that she's got nothing left for a sprint, with Haga still in close attention and Killunen trying to make ultra sure of this finish. Comes through to the straight. It is going to be Finland's second place. It's a podium for Paamäkoski, Niskanen, Mononen and Killunen, and haven't they skied it well? That's a really well-planned race from them. Made all the right decisions. And Finland finishing second. Joyous celebrations for a podium place for them. But let's get back to this race for third, and Diggins has done it. She's got enough in the tank to see USA over the line for a fabulous podium. Oh, wow. Well, that is something else from the American girls today. And when you look down the list, Brennan gave it some real gas, but looked out of it early doors. And then Bjornsson got them back in. But those legs in the freestyle from Stephen and Diggins were something else to get USA the third. And a rather despondent Norway 2 in second. Even more despondent Charlotte Kalla crossing the line for Sweden in fifth place. Germany are going to pick up sixth. But I suspect this won't be the last time we say it this season. Today was all about Norway 1. Another relay victory. Well, excellent race to start our coverage today from the cross country. We've got the men's to come in a little over an hour's time. But for the moment, we're going to head off to Östersund with Patrick Winterton and Mike Dixon for more biathlon action. I'll see you later today.